There comes a time in life when we begin to question everything: our pain, our purpose, and the meaning behind it all. We search for answers in the world around us. But the deepest truth is always found within. The truth about God is not a mystery meant to be hidden from you. It is a light waiting to awaken your soul. When you truly understand this truth, you will be set free, not just for a moment, but forever. There is a moment in every seeker's journey when they pause and ask, "Where is God? Where do I find the divine?" We grow up hearing about God as if He is somewhere far away, in the skies, in a place we call heaven, in distant realms unreachable to the ordinary heart. We are told to beg, to plead, to ask for permission, to wait for a blessing to descend from above. But here is the truth that can change your life forever. God is not far away. God is not separate from you. The very essence of God flows through your breath, your heartbeat, your thoughts, your smile, and your tears. Imagine for a moment that you are the ocean. Each wave rises and falls, but it never stops being part of the ocean. You may see yourself as the wave, temporary, moving, changing, unsure where you belong, but in truth, you are the ocean expressing itself as a wave for a while. That is how the divine expresses through you. There is no real separation. The idea that you must earn a connection to God is a story humanity has carried for too long. It is the belief that causes us to feel alone, unworthy, and lost. But what if you could remember what has always been true? The divine presence is the very force of life within you. It is in the rhythm of your breathing, in the intelligence that heals your body, in the quiet voice that nudges you toward your right path when your mind is unsure. It is not waiting for you to be perfect. It is already here. It has never left you, and it never will. The only thing that can make you feel disconnected is the thought that you are separate, and even that thought is just a cloud passing through the vast sky of your being. When you stop searching outside yourself for something to worship and begin to look within, everything changes. You realize that every act of kindness is an act of God. Every moment of compassion, every time you choose love over fear, every time you forgive someone who hurt you. This is the divine expressing through you. It is not something you must beg for. It is something you are. Think of a seed planted in the ground. Within that tiny seed lies the entire pattern of a tree, its roots, its branches, its fruit. Does the seed ever need to go searching for the sun? No, it simply grows toward it because the sun is always there. In the same way, you do not need to go searching for God outside of yourself. You simply need to grow toward that awareness. Let the light that is already shining on you be the light you remember. So many of us carry wounds from teachings that made us feel small, teachings that said God is watching you, waiting to punish, keeping score, holding back blessings until you prove yourself. But the truth is far more liberating. God is not a distant judge. God is the life force loving you into being in every moment. God is the quiet peace you feel when you release a burden. God is the joy that bubbles up in your heart when you laugh with a child. God is the strength that carries you through nights you thought you would not survive. When you begin to live with this understanding, you no longer chase approval. You no longer feel abandoned when people leave, because you realize you are never truly alone. The divine is as close as your own breath, as constant as the beating of your heart. Begin to speak to this presence within you, not as something foreign, but as a part of yourself you are remembering. In your silence, ask, "What would you have me know today?" And listen, not with your ears, but with your heart. Sometimes the answer comes as a thought. Sometimes it comes as a sign. Sometimes it comes as the sudden courage to take the next step. This is not about religion. It is about relationship, your relationship with the deepest truth of who you are. When you know that God is not separate from you, you stop striving, you stop begging, and you begin to create. You create with your thoughts, your words, your faith. You become a co-creator with the divine, because how could you not? You are already part of it. So let this truth settle into your bones. You are not a mistake. You are not abandoned. You are not far from God. You are the expression of God. In your smile, in your resilience, in your desire to grow and love and heal, there is divinity unfolding. Take a deep breath right now and feel that life within you. That is the presence you have been searching for. It is not a voice of fear. It is not a power that shames. It is the gentle, unending whisper saying, you are loved, you are safe, you are already home. From the moment you took your first breath, before you spoke your first word or made your first choice, you were already wrapped in an infinite love that asked nothing of you. This love did not come with rules, nor did it require you to prove your worth. It was there when you were a child, curious and wide-eyed. It was there when you made mistakes, when you doubted yourself, when you fell short of your own expectations. And it is here right now, whether you feel it or not. This is the truth about God's love. It is unconditional, unshackable, and constant. Many people carry the heavy burden of believing that they must earn love, even divine love. They believe that if they do everything right, if they follow every rule, if they live without flaw, only then will they be accepted, blessed, or worthy of peace. But that is not how true love works. True love, divine love, does not wait for you to be perfect. It embraces you as you are, right now, in all your human complexity, your triumphs, your struggles, your regrets, and your dreams. Think about the times in your life when you have felt most unworthy. Moments when you let yourself down, or when others walked away because they could not see your heart. Even then, love did not abandon you. You may have turned away from it. You may have closed the door to it with guilt or shame, but it never closed the door on you. God's love has never been a distant prize. It is the foundation beneath your feet. We live in a world that often confuses love with transaction. I will love you if you do this. I will stay with you if you become that. I will support you if you meet my expectations. And when we hear this message long enough, we begin to project it onto everything, even onto God. We imagine a divine presence keeping score, tallying our failures, ready to withhold blessings until we somehow become enough. But the truth is far more freeing. There is nothing you could do to make this love go away. There is no mistake so large, no past so broken that it can cancel the love that brought you into being. This love is the reason you wake up every day with another chance. It is the reason your body heals after pain, why your heart can open again after it has been shattered. It is the quiet strength that carries you through dark nights, the invisible arms that hold you when no one else seems to notice your tears. God's love is not a reaction to your goodness. It is the source of your life. So, how do you begin to live in this truth? You start by letting go of the idea that you must strive to be worthy. You already are. You start by forgiving yourself for the times you believed you were unlovable. You start by sitting in the stillness of your own presence and saying, even if I do nothing today, I am loved. Even if I fail, I am loved. Even if I do not have all the answers, I am loved. When you carry this awareness into your life, something shifts. You stop chasing validation from people who cannot give you what your soul needs. You stop bending and breaking yourself just to feel accepted. You no longer live in fear of rejection, because you know the deepest acceptance has already been given to you by the one who created you. God's love does not mean that life will never challenge you. Love does not remove every obstacle, but it does give you the strength to rise after you fall. It does not mean you will never face pain, but it means you will never face it without a hand reaching for yours, without a light guiding you forward. Love is not proven in the absence of storms. It is revealed in the way you are carried through them. Some people spend their whole lives trying to earn what they already have. They pray, they beg, they make promises, believing that love will come if they just do enough. But imagine a parent watching a child sleep. Does that parent wait for the child to achieve something before feeling love? No. The love is there simply because the child exists. You are that child. The divine sees you in the same way, with tenderness, with patience, with a knowing that you are always more than your mistakes and always more than your fears. Right now, in this very moment, love surrounds you. It is in the air you breathe, in the opportunities waiting to unfold, in the forgiveness that is inalienable to the moment you are willing to receive it. All that is asked of you is to stop running from it. Stop believing the stories that say you are too broken, too late, too far gone. None of that is true. You can open your heart to this love today. You do not need to have it all figured out. You do not need to fix every part of your past first. Love is not waiting for your perfection, it is waiting for your permission. Allow it to wash over you like sunlight after a long night. Let it remind you that you are safe, that you are supported, that you are not alone, and never have been. Every single moment of your life is being shaped by something far more powerful than what you see with your eyes. It is not luck. It is not chance. It is the invisible current of your thoughts and beliefs, and it is through this current that God moves. Every thought you hold is a seed, and every belief you nurture is the soil in which that seed grows. The life you are living right now is the harvest of what you have planted in the past, consciously or unconsciously. This truth can be overwhelming when you first hear it, but it is also incredibly freeing, because it means you are not helpless. It means you are not at the mercy of fate. It means that every time you shift your thinking, you open a new doorway for the divine to work through you. God is always willing, always ready, always pouring out possibilities. But your mind is the channel that determines what you allow to flow in. Think of your thoughts as instructions you send out to the universe. If your thoughts are filled with fear, self-doubt, and limitation, you unconsciously create barriers. You close doors before they even open. You tell life, I am not worthy. It's too late. It's too hard. And life, being a mirror, reflects that belief back to you. But when you begin to think in a new way, when you nurture thoughts of faith, abundance, healing, and growth, you align yourself with the flow of God's energy. Suddenly, doors appear where walls once stood. Opportunities begin to unfold. Your inner world starts to shape your outer experience. This is not about pretending that nothing bad ever happens. It is about recognizing that your mind is not a passive observer of life. It is a creative force. What you continually dwell upon, you invite more of. If you focus on what is missing, the feeling of lack deepens. If you focus on gratitude for what you have, that feeling multiplies. God works through the language of your thoughts, not as punishment or reward, but as a reflection of what you allow yourself to believe is possible. Consider a person who believes they are always unlucky. They walk into situations expecting disappointment. They meet new people expecting rejection. They make plans expecting them to fail. And what happens? Their life seems to give them exactly what they feared. Not because God withheld goodness from them, but because their beliefs became a filter through which everything had to pass. Now, think of someone who carries a deep inner knowing that life supports them, that things work out for them, that even in delays there is divine timing at play. They encounter challenges too, but they move through them differently. They look for lessons instead of curses. They see detours as protection, not punishment. And because they think this way, they open themselves to experiences others miss. God works through your thoughts and beliefs in the same way electricity works through a lamp. The power is always there, waiting to flow, but the switch must be turned on. Your thoughts are that switch. Every time you choose a thought of hope over despair, every time you choose to see possibility instead of a dead end, every time you choose to affirm life rather than fear it, you turn that switch a little brighter. This is why it is so important to guard your inner world. Be mindful of what you repeatedly say to yourself. Are your words building bridges or building walls? Are your beliefs inherited from fear-based teachings, or are they chosen consciously because they uplift and expand you? Many people go through life carrying beliefs that are not even theirs, handed down from parents, culture, or painful experiences, and then wonder why life feels heavy. But you can change this. You can rewrite the script. Begin by paying attention to your self-talk. Replace "I can't" with "I am learning." Replace "it's too late" with "my timing is always perfect." Replace "I am unlucky" with "I am open to blessings I cannot yet see." These are not empty words. They are new seeds, and when you plant them consistently, the divine responds. The universe rearranges itself to meet you where your belief now lives. God does not force a blessing upon closed hands. God offers, and your thoughts receive. When you open your mind to possibility, you create a space for miracles. You begin to live not as a victim of circumstances, but as a co-creator with the very source that gave you life. So ask yourself, what am I believing today? What am I thinking about the most? Are these thoughts pulling me closer to peace or deeper into fear? Your future is being shaped in this very moment. Not only by what you do, but by what you repeatedly tell yourself is true. The beauty of this truth is that you can begin again right now. No matter what you have believed until this moment, no matter how many years you have repeated the same story, one decision to choose a higher thought, one choice to believe in goodness, one willingness to let God's light in through a new belief can change everything. There is a heavy weight many people carry without realizing it. A weight that slows their steps, dims their joy, and clouds their vision of what life could be. This weight is unforgiveness. It is the tight grip we keep on old wounds, the silent anger that sits beneath our smiles, the story we replay in our minds over and over again about what someone did, what they said, or how they failed us. And though we believe that holding on to this pain somehow protects us or keeps us strong, the truth is the opposite. Holding on keeps us stuck. It binds us to the very moment we want to escape. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to the one who hurt you. It is the key you give to yourself to walk out of the prison you didn't know you built. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. Many believe it means saying what happened was okay. They fear that forgiving means they have to forget, to reconcile, to invite that person back into their lives, or to erase the harm that was done. But true forgiveness is not about excusing the action. It is about releasing your attachment to the pain. It is about saying, I will no longer let this moment define my heart. I will no longer carry this story like a chain. When you refuse to forgive, you bind yourself to the past. Every time you think of that person, that betrayal, that wound, your heart contracts. Your energy drains. Your future is quietly shaped by a wound that has not healed. You may try to move forward, but somewhere within, the anger still whispers, the resentment still lives, and that shadow colors everything new you try to create. Forgiveness is not a favor. It is freedom. It clears the space so something new can finally grow. Think of your heart like a house. If every room is filled with old boxes of anger, bitterness, and regret, where will the new blessings live? Where will love, joy, and peace find their place? Forgiveness is like opening the windows and letting the old air out. It is sweeping the floors of your soul, making space for the life you truly deserve. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is not someone else. It is yourself. We hold ourselves captive with guilt for the choices we made, the mistakes we regret, the years we think we wasted. We punish ourselves with words like, I should have known better. I should have left sooner. I should have been stronger. But the truth is, you did the best you knew how with the awareness you had then. And you are still here, still breathing, still capable of learning, growing, and creating again. Forgiveness of yourself is the first step toward every other form of freedom. So how do you begin to forgive when the wound feels deep? You begin with willingness. You do not have to feel ready. You do not have to know how. You simply say, I am willing to let this go. I am willing to release this pain. I am willing to no longer let this define me. And then slowly the energy begins to shift. You may still remember what happened, but the memory loses its poison. The story remains, but its grip weakens. Forgiveness is not a one-time event. It is a practice. Some days you may feel free, and the next day the anger rises again. That does not mean you failed. It means the wound is healing in layers. Each time you choose to forgive again, you loosen the rope a little more. Each time you choose to bless the situation and release it, you open the door a little wider. When you forgive, you do not erase what was done. You reclaim who you are. You stop being a character trapped in someone else's story and become the author of your own. You free your energy so it can move toward what truly matters. Your peace, your growth, your future. Imagine carrying a heavy stone everywhere you go. At first, it makes you strong because you are constantly holding it. But over time, it exhausts you. Now imagine what happens when you finally put it down. Your hands are free. Your back is light. You can walk farther, faster, and with more joy. That is what forgiveness feels like. It does not change the past, but it releases its grip on your present. And here is the deeper truth. Forgiveness does not depend on the other person apologizing, changing, or even understanding what they did. It is entirely your choice, your power. Some people may never ask for your forgiveness. Some may never admit the harm they caused. But you are not forgiving them for their sake. You are forgiving because you deserve peace. Right now, there is a future waiting for you that cannot begin until you open the door. That door is forgiveness. It does not mean you forget. It does not mean you return to what hurt you. It means you are brave enough to stop drinking the poison of resentment and start breathing again. There are moments in life when the path feels unclear, when every step forward feels like a guess, and you wonder if you are walking alone. You look around and it seems no one understands the weight you carry, the choices you face, or the storms you've endured. In those moments, it is easy to believe that you are abandoned, left to figure everything out on your own. But the truth is far deeper, far more comforting, and far more powerful than that. You have never been alone. From the moment you arrived on this earth, you have been guided, supported, and surrounded by a presence that quietly moves through every season of your life. Guidance does not always come with a loud voice or a blazing sign in the sky. Often, it is soft, subtle, and quiet, like the whisper in your heart that tells you to wait just a little longer, or the sudden feeling that nudges you to call someone at just the right time, or the moment you take a detour only to find an opportunity waiting you never expected. This is how the divine works, not always in grand gestures, but in the gentle weaving together of moments that eventually make sense when you look back. Think of the times in your life when something you thought was a setback turned out to be protection. Perhaps you didn't get the job you wanted, only to later find something better aligned with your purpose. Perhaps someone walked out of your life, and it broke you open, only for that space to allow something real, honest, and nurturing to enter. This is not coincidence, this is guidance. It is a hand you may not always see, but that never stops reaching for you when you feel lost. It is not because guidance has disappeared. It is because the noise of fear, doubt, and overthinking has grown louder than your inner knowing. The mind often demands certainty while the heart moves in trust. To sense guidance, you must create stillness. You must learn to pause, to breathe, to listen to the quiet pulse beneath the noise. Sometimes the next step is not revealed until you stop running your circles and allow yourself to simply be. Support also comes in many forms. Sometimes it is a person who shows up with exactly the words you needed to hear. Sometimes it is an opportunity that appears when you were ready to give up. Sometimes it is an unexpected turn that redirects your entire path. Support is not always about removing every challenge. Often it is about giving you the strength to walk through the challenge and come out wiser, stronger, and more aligned with who you truly are. There have been countless moments in your life when you felt you couldn't continue, and yet you did. There were nights you thought would break you, but somehow morning came, and with it a new breath, a new chance, a new beginning. That is support. It may not have looked like a miracle from the outside, but it was a quiet miracle of resilience, of grace, of something greater holding you up when your own strength felt like it was fading. To live with this awareness is to live with a different kind of peace. It does not mean you will always know the plan. It does not mean everything will unfold on your timeline. It means you can walk through uncertainty without collapsing into fear, because you trust that the road beneath your feet is leading somewhere meaningful. You may not know every turn ahead, but you know you are not navigating it alone. The more you begin to trust this truth, the clearer your inner guidance becomes. It is like tuning a radio. At first the static is loud, but with gentle adjustments the signal sharpens. That signal is your intuition, your connection to the divine flow. When you honor it, even in small ways, by following a nudge, by saying yes to what feels right, by saying no to what feels heavy, you strengthen the channel. There is no mistake so great that it disconnects you from this support. There is no season so dark that the light cannot find you. Even when you take a wrong turn, the guidance does not disappear. It simply reroutes you. Life has a way of gently steering you back toward your purpose again and again until you remember what you came here to become. So when you find yourself asking, where is the help I need? Where is the answer I've been praying for? Pause. Breathe. Look at the signs you may have overlooked. Notice the people who have been placed in your life at just the right moment. Pay attention to the quiet inner voice that has been speaking all along. Guidance is not absent. It is often waiting for you to slow down enough to hear it. You are always guided. You are always supported. You are never walking this journey alone, even when your path feels silent. There is a hand on your back, a light ahead of you, and a presence within you that has never once left your side. Trust this even when the road is unclear, and step forward with the quiet confidence that life is working for you, not against you. Freedom is not something you must chase, beg for, or earn. It is your natural state, and it blossoms when you begin to live in alignment with love. Love is the highest energy, the purest truth, and the deepest force that shapes your existence. When you allow love to guide your words, your choices, and your thoughts, you step out of fear, out of limitations, and into a space where your soul feels free. True freedom is not the absence of responsibility. It is the presence of inner peace. It is the ability to stand in your truth without needing validation, to follow your heart without fear of judgment, and to express who you are without apology. Love is the pathway to this freedom because love dissolves the illusions of lack, separation, and control. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that freedom comes from having more money, more power, more recognition, or more influence. Yet, the soul does not find freedom in accumulation. It finds freedom in alignment. Love asks you to release the heavy chains of resentment, self-doubt, and fear. Love whispers that your worth is not determined by what you achieve, but by the essence of who you are. Freedom begins when you stop measuring yourself against others and start aligning your life with what feels true and expansive for you. Love does not force, it flows. Love does not demand, it invites. And when you live from that energy, freedom is no longer a distant dream. It becomes your daily reality. Living in alignment with love means choosing thoughts that uplift you rather than those that drag you down. It means speaking words that heal rather than words that harm. It means honoring your own heart, even when the world tells you to conform. Love is not weakness. It is the ultimate strength because it requires courage to live gently in a world that often rewards hardness. When you decide to let love be your compass, you stop reacting from fear. You no longer cling to grudges, nor do you hold on to relationships that diminish your light. Freedom flows when you allow love to clear the old patterns that kept you chained. This alignment also asks you to turn inward and reconnect with the source of love within you. So many are searching for freedom outside themselves, thinking it will come with the next opportunity, the next relationship, or the next accomplishment. But love and freedom are inner states that spill over into your outer world when nurtured. To align with love, pause often. Ask yourself, is this choice rooted in fear, or is it rooted in love? That single question can shift your entire reality. When you begin making decisions from a space of love, whether it's in your career, your health, your relationships, or your daily interactions, you naturally begin to set yourself free from stress, anxiety, and the need to control outcomes. Forgiveness plays a vital role in this journey, for you cannot carry the weight of anger and expect to soar in freedom. To align with love, you must be willing to release what has wounded you. That does not mean you condone it, but you choose no longer to be imprisoned by it. Love is the key that unlocks those chains. It reminds you that every person, including you, is doing the best they can with the awareness they have in each moment. When you see life this way, compassion rises, judgment fades, and the path to freedom becomes clear. Another aspect of living in alignment with love is trusting the natural flow of life. Love does not resist change, it embraces growth. Freedom comes when you stop clinging to the way things should be and open your heart to what is unfolding. Even challenges carry gifts when you look through the lens of love. What once felt like an obstacle becomes a lesson. What once felt like a loss becomes an opening for something greater. This is freedom, not being untouched by life, but being unshaken because love holds you steady. As you continue to live in alignment with love, you begin to notice how your energy shifts. The world may not change overnight, but your perception does. Opportunities that resonate with your truth begin to appear. Relationships that nurture your soul naturally deepen, and those that no longer align gently fade away. You stop feeling the need to prove yourself, because love already validates your existence. And in that space, you can breathe fully, speak honestly, and live openly. Freedom is not found in the absence of pain, but in your ability to move through pain without losing your heart. It is the quiet confidence of knowing that you are loved, that you are guided, and that you are never truly alone. Living in alignment with love does not mean life will always be easy. It means you will always have an anchor of peace, no matter what storms arise. And from that place, every choice you make carries the vibration of freedom, not just for yourself, but for everyone who encounters your light.